Hello, this is my Enforcer pattern Automata and my Enforcer Venator, and you're watching Wargames, Models and Other Hobbies. Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be finishing building my Automata and my Venator for my Ash Waste Enforcer gang, and while I do it I'm going to just generally chat about my plans for the gang and other bits and pieces. So let's start with the Automata. Now, my plans for this model, originally I was going to actually put some packs and things on it so it looks like it's carrying equipment and things. Still might do that later on, but I'm just going to finish up this arm with the man catcher on. Now, in the plans for this gang, this Automata is quite expensive for the gang. I've gone for quite pricey weapons because I want a certain look and feel to the gang. And the Automata itself, I want the man catcher arm to look almost like, could be like a walking stick or something like that as it walks along. I'm not too sure yet, but to start with I'm just going to have it loose like I've got the other weapon loose, and then I can decide later on if I want to change it. But yeah, I really like the Automata model. And the second one that you get in the pack I might build for my Underhive Enforcer gang, but that one's just on the shelf at the moment as it's not needed. I'm just thinking of the way that I want this to sit in. I'm going to have to bend that joint back like that. So I might magnetise these, I'm not too sure yet, although I might just stick these in. Actually, quite like these positions that they're in, so I'm going to stick them in place. So I'll start with, well, that's not ideal, that. Let's put a bit more glue on there. Let that go off while I put this in place. So I've actually done it so the Automata is slightly twisted. I'll leave a link to the original build video for this one in the description. It was quite a while ago now. It's just been sitting on my shelf, so I thought it's time to finish it off. So I just run glue in the joint there. And then just hold that for a little bit. Bring that up slightly. Yeah, I'm happy with that. What I think I'll do at the same time, I'm going to glue this to its base. And unlike my other Necromunda models, because this is Ash Wastes, I'm putting it on a blank base so I can do a textured Ash Waste theme base. I'll do that to the whole gang when I've painted them and I'm happy with them. So I'm going to wait for that to dry for a little bit. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I just want to talk about the Venator. So the Enforcer Venator that came out beginning of this year, which you'll have watched the video of me making this to this point already. If you haven't, I'll leave a description below. Its predecessor, the Forge World one, I have one as well. And originally I was going to have both of these in my gang. But I have to say, after having them sitting for a little bit next to each other, I've decided not to use the Forge World one because although the size difference isn't too much, it's enough that I don't quite like how they're the same vehicle but they look quite different. So I'm not too sure about keeping them in the same gang. So I've decided actually to move that out of the gang, and I've decided to do some conversions for some enforcers on vehicles, which I'll do in another video. But I was thinking about using the Gene Stealer hybrid quad that you can get as an alternative vehicle. So in a later video I'm going to convert that, but yeah, for now I'm just going to stick with the single vehicle. I've decided on what I want the driver and the gunner and the turret to have equipped, so that's what I'm going to put together in a bit. But let's have a look at this one again, and these seem to have cured in place. So let's run some glue on the inside of this joint. And slot that on. And I'm going to have this slightly twisted around so it's parallel with the direction of walking. So it looks like the Automata is walking this way, but it's turned its body and the gun that way to shoot, but the man catcher's still facing forward. I know that including this in a starting gang, it's quite expensive, could be overpowered, but I'm looking more of the narrative for this Enforcer gang. I've got an idea for making their base, which I'll do a video on as well. But for now, I just want to get these two models done before I get on with the rest of the gang. If you'd like to see a video of how I come up with the gang and work out what's in it, please drop a comment. I'm happy to do that. But for now, yeah, that one, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to leave that to one side for a bit and keep an eye on it to make sure that the arms don't move at all. And then let's get on to the Venator to finish this off. Now, I know there's some little bits underneath that I missed off last time. I think it's a tow hitch, which is just on the sprue here. Okay, there's that first part, and then I'm sure there was another bit. It might be on the other sprue. So, hang on, what numbers were those? 35 and 36. Now I know I've seen it. 36. When there's not much left on a sprue, but you can't even see the part. That's crazy. Oh, okay. There it is, right on the edge, just there. I knew I'd seen it. Oh, there we go. So yeah, for this Enforcer gang, I want to do a few different videos, and great to have comments on what other videos you'd like to see. I'm gonna want to do a painting video, obviously. Want to create their gang base, their precinct house, and like I said, if you want to see how I put the gang together, come up with the ideas of it, please drop a comment. So that goes on just in there. There we go. So the tow hitch is just there. And I wouldn't mind doing a series of videos of vehicle conversions actually that could be used for Warhammer 40,000 or Necromunda. So if you'd like to see any vehicle conversion videos, drop a comment because I'd be happy to produce some of them. So let's start with the next step of building the gunner. So I'm looking for 16 and 17, which that is 16 there. "17" is just there. Right. And I'm not going to stick the heads on of the driver or the gunner until the end, because I want them to be looking in the right direction for whatever position they're seated, rather than just doing it blindly while I build the bodies. I want to make sure I do that bit properly and have them lined up. So there is that part, and now I'm looking for 23, which is this seat. So what I'm going to have a look at when I build this is whether or not I leave the driver unattached for painting. So I'll probably find most of the bits of this are going to be in place, but there will be a few bits unattached, like I said, for painting, which makes it a bit easier. And let's look at the next few steps as well. So I want the turret itself and then the feet as well. So I'd love to hear in the comments what gangs you like in Necromunda. By the time you've seen this video, I'll have done a whole series of videos on the books for playing Necromunda. There's quite a few. I know some people don't like having lots of books to use to play Necromunda, but I quite like having reference material, information and things like that. And you don't actually need all of them, as I go through in the video itself. But Necromunda is one of my favourite games. Just not only for playing, but I do like the aesthetic, the setting, all that kind of stuff. Something I really do like. So this glues onto the bottom. That glues it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, looking at how this goes in, I'm going to glue the chair in, like so, and then I'm going to position the gunner, and then I'm going to glue the legs in underneath so I can attach the gunner later on, just so it's easier to paint, because the feet, as you can see, glue underneath it like that, but I can still take out the gunner so I can paint them a little bit easier. So the next step I'm looking for is the arms, as well as the control handle. So let's get the control handles off here. So we've got 27 and 26. Now that's 27. That's 26. And the hands themselves are 19 and 20. So there's 19. Here's 20. So I would love to hear what kind of videos you'd like to watch. I know I don't get many views, it doesn't really bother me, as I do like the process of making the videos. It's not something that I worry too much about. When I kind of start getting into it a little bit more, I might think a bit more about how to get more coverage of the videos and that kind of thing if I want to get viewership up, but like I said, I'm not too worried at the moment. Helps if I remember to take off that little bit of sprue off there. So I'm going to predict while I'm doing this, I might accidentally glue a bit of the driver to, sorry, the gunner to the edge, but we'll see how this actually all sits in place. The arm doesn't move that much, so I'm going to, if I take the gunner out, and I can stick these control bits in, let's do this side as well. Let's do the other arm while the gunner's not in. Yeah, so the gunner's arms kind of stay in exactly the same place. There's no choice for movement of those, which is, for this situation, is fine. Well, no, that's gonna... Okay, no, I'm gonna have to glue the gunner in. Hey ho, that's alright. Just a slightly different way for painting now for this one, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, that's okay. The gunner's all in place there. So I've next got to find the roll bar, which is 31. I realised I've started to stop chatting too much while I'm doing this, so I hope you enjoy the build as I go through, and I might chat about things as I go if I remember, but I'm kind of enjoying this build at the moment, so chatting might disappear as I put it together. I do have a few more build ideas for videos coming up, so stay tuned for those if you'd like to watch build processes and things like that. But yeah, it's my choice with not including the Forge World Venator. They were sitting next to each other on the desk for a little while, and as I looked at them, I realised it wasn't looking how I'd initially planned for the style that I want the gang to be. Yeah, there was the scale difference of the vehicles, just it didn't quite work. So I'll probably use the Forge World Venator for something else, but for now the gang will just have one Venator and then another vehicle conversion. Now, one thing I do want to see is whether the weapons for the Venator can just plug in and not... Yep, perfect. So that heavy stubber plugs in but doesn't need to be glued straight away. So for a little while I can leave the guns off and kind of have a think about exactly what weapons I want. I'm pretty sure I want heavy stubbers for this one, but you never know, when I come to writing up the gang, it might end up being slightly different, and I might want to have the concussion cannon, but I do like the idea of converting the quad to have something like a concussion cannon on it, so we'll see how that goes. Right. Now it's when you get to a stage like this and you see there's one bit left on the sprue, 25, which I haven't put on yet. So let's have a quick look through and see where I've missed this. 25, okay, that goes in the front. So when I make the driver, I'll go back and I'm going to make the driver in a second, and I'll work out whether or not I can fit that in and glue it in place with the driver loose. Okay, so that's it. How does that sit in there? That sits like that. Okay. Quite like the turret. It's reminiscent of a ball turret. Okay. Now, it shouldn't be too much of a pain to paint that, but we'll see. I've got an idea for the colour scheme. I said it in the last video. Okay, so let's just push fit the heavy stubbers in. I might magnetise these actually. If you'd like to watch a video on how to magnetise things like this and weapons, please drop a comment. I'm happy to do that, but yeah, that I like the look of that on there. That's nice. Okay, now I'm going to go back a few pages in the instructions to have a look at the driver, and then this part here, this part 25. Now I'm going to cut this off now without thinking that I may need to put it somewhere safe if it doesn't fit in there and be able to remove the parts, but hey ho, I've done it now. Okay, so let me just take that off. Let's build this driver. So, out of the choices, you can have a driver shooting the stub gun, but I'm going to have the driver just holding the wheel with both hands, as I kind of prefer the look of a driver speeding along like that. So I could use my clippers for this, but I'm kind of just cutting them out with it laying flat. Let's just get all the parts together. Again, I'm not going to worry about the head now, as I want to have a little think about it. I might mix and match the heads from the Enforcer kit I've got ready for this gang itself. So, at the front of it there. I'm just looking at, I'm wondering where that sidearm goes. Okay, that goes on the outside. Okay. So I'm just looking at the instructions off camera. There is a stub gun just there. Okay, so let's just clean up these parts. Okay, that's okay. So yeah, what I'll probably do is I'll stick the chair down and then put the driver together and have them so they just slot in for now, because I don't really want to well, if I have to stick them in, what I'll do is not stick the cage down on the front, the roll cage, so I can get easier access for painting. But we'll have a look when I've put the driver together. It's until you kind of stick them together, you're never quite sure, and I'm being a bit too impatient to do any dry fit of this model. Okay, let's let that dry for a little bit, and let's stick this seat down. Okay, let's just hold that in place as well. Okay, so there's the seat stuck in place. Now you see you've got the control, the dashboard, the control box, whatever. It's the dashboard, isn't it? There. And I can put in part 25 without an issue of that being blocked. So let's put that in place. So that still fits in. So it may be a case that, let's just put that there. Okay, so the driver does slot in, but let's see what happens when we put the arms on, because obviously once you've done the arms and they've got the steering wheel in, it may make it a little bit tighter to access. Whoops, let's try and hold that in place. That's while I'm gluing this, I would like to thank those people who take the time to watch my videos. Yes, I do appreciate the people who do watch them. So now I don't have a massive following over here on YouTube, but it doesn't bother me too much. It's just part of my hobby of kind of logging what I'm doing whilst doing my hobby. Right, which way? There we go. Thumbs at the top most of the time. Okay, let me have a little look. Perfect. Okay, so that driver goes in no problem, so I can glue this dashboard in place. Didn't need to put glue over the middle bit. Let's just wipe that off. Chances are that would accidentally glue the guy to it if I'm not paying attention. Okay. Right, so that's the driver. Okay, let's just pop the driver in and put that over the top of the roll cage. Ooh. Put that in. So, other options that I have on these, which I'm going to wait till I do the next vehicle for this, the conversion of the quad, which I'll do a video for. I've got to buy that still, but that'll happen soon, hopefully. I have oil cans, backpacks from the kit. There's 2 oil cans, 2 backpacks, as well as the bigger backpack or storage bag, and then the stub gun on the little holster to add as stowage details. But I think for now I'm going to leave it as it is with these two. So I've still got to put the heads on and all that stowage, but I've got the basics all finished. But for now, yeah, I'm happy with that. So if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. But for now, thanks for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models and Other Hobbies.